Hello, this is Taylor Elwood, your business wizard for eccentric entrepreneurs at ImagineYourReality.com. And today I want to talk about the importance of being yourself. So often, people, when they own a business or take on a career or anything, they give away a part of themselves. They close themselves down and they don't necessarily share who they are. And let's face it, folks, it's hard to be vulnerable in our society. We're told all the time not to be vulnerable. We're told all the time not to share who we are, not to show who we are. And sometimes we have experiences that tell us that. I can't tell you how many experiences I've had where I've been called weird, or I've been told, you don't quite fit in here, or I've been told you need to dress a certain way in order for people to accept you. I've been told it many different times. And there were times where I actually listened to it and followed that advice, and yet what I found is that when I followed that advice, it made me miserable. And it didn't necessarily improve my business or help me out in any way significant. It just made me feel miserable. And I think it made me stick out in a way that wasn't good because people could tell that I wasn't quite fitting in. About almost a year now, it's hard to believe, but it was almost a year ago now that I made the decision to make some radical changes in my life. And one of the decisions I made was that I was going to stop going to all the networking meetings I was going to, and that I was going to change how I approach networking. And it wasn't because the people weren't nice or that they weren't great people, because they're great people, and I occasionally run into some of them on occasion and we say, hey, how you doing, and all that stuff. But it was because I realized that I didn't necessarily feel like I could show up authentically at those meetings because I didn't feel like I could really be me. I was dressing up a certain way, I was trying to fit some type of image, and it wasn't working for me. Now, maybe I could go back to those meetings and just show up the way I am now, and that'd be great. But the other realization I came to was, what I really need to do is go out there and find my own community. Instead of trying to force my way into a community, I need to either create one or find one. And so I ended up creating my community, and that's all of you wonderful folks that identify yourselves as eccentric entrepreneurs, because I realized that's who I want to work with. And those are the kind of people that I want to help. The people who are like me, because I'm an eccentric entrepreneur. And for so long I had denied that essential truth. I had tried so long to just fit in, to appear a certain way, to act a certain way, to be a certain way, and yet it wasn't me. Don't compromise who you are in order to get business. Because even if you do get business from it, you're going to hate yourself on some level. Instead, simply choose to be yourself. Show up as who you are. And work with the people that you really want to work with, the people that you're called to work with. And trust that those people will actually recognize that. I think an essential part of being yourself isn't even just that you're being yourself, it's that you're trusting other people to just let you be yourself. And you're recognizing that when there are people who don't accept you for who you are, there are people who try and tell you how you should dress or act or whatever else, that you just say, you know what, thanks for the advice, and I'm going to let you go out of my life now, because you're not the kind of person I want to associate myself with. I don't fit into your crowd, and you don't fit into my crowd, and that's okay. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to get all cliquish here and say, oh, you've got to find your clique, but I think it's really important to just recognize that sometimes you're going to come across people that aren't going to accept you as you are. They're going to try and tell you, perhaps with the best of intentions, how you ought to dress, how you ought to appear. And really what it comes right down to is they just don't get you. And that's okay. They don't need to get you. But what's important is that you don't sacrifice who you are in order to feel accepted by them. Just be yourself. Trust who you are. And when you trust who you are, what will happen is it will change your life. It will change how you show up. I know that I am much happier now as a result of just choosing to be myself. And surprise, surprise, my business is actually doing just fine. I'm doing better with my business now than I was when I was trying so hard to fit in. And a large part of that was just that I made the choice to change how I showed up, where I showed up, everything else. By making that choice, by honoring who I am, I was able to more authentically be who I need to be. So folks, just be yourself. Trust in who you are and let that become part of your marketing, because when you do that, your business will be awesome. Have any comments about being yourself? Feel free to leave them below, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please click on the dragon icon. Thanks so much and take care.